Hey guys, just a quick video here. Just getting home from the Bellator 47 event that was tonight at Casino Rama. I got there a little late, so I missed the local feature fights. But um, here's the results of the card: the local feature fights and the a lightweight bout between Matua versus Alex Ricci. Ricci won via TKO, elbows and punches at 240 of round 2. A featherweight bout was up next with Canadian William Romero versus another Canadian Daniel Lagbean. Romero won via unanimous decision, 29-28, 30-27, and 30-27. Next up, the final lightweight feature fight was Alexander Belzera versus Jesse Gross, another Canadian. Belzera won via technical submission, rear naked choke at 128 of round 1. That fight aired on MTV2 following the live fights. Onto the main card. First up was the heavyweight bout with Neil Grove versus Zach Jensen. Uh, some of you might know Jensen from I don't know what tough he was, but he was on a season of The Ultimate Fighter. And anyways, really good fight. A lot of started off just pure standing and punching. They traded shots unbelievably well. They both take punches. At one point, once it got to the ground, Grove had Jensen in a ankle lock, and then from there they decided to just pound it out while Grove was still hanging on to the ankle. They just kept trading punches even though Jensen was in an ankle lock. Ending in a Grove won via TKO of punches from the guard at 2 minutes of round 1. Next up was a lightweight belt, fellow Canadian Chris Hordecki versus Chris Saunders. Hordecki ended up dedicating that fight to a good friend of his that he just lost earlier this week, sorry. With amazing fight. Hordecki controlled the whole fight, pretty much took Saunders down at will. Just leg trips, takedowns, that just whatever he could nail, he was pretty much nailing it at will. Lots of good submission attempts, a few guillotines, some Kimaras. Lots of good cage fighting up against the cage, clinches and on the ground from the guard. And Hordecki seemed to just pass on his guard at will, kept getting side control, north-south, had him out a couple times. Hordecki ended up taking it by unanimous 30-27 all around. Next up was the first of the 2 featherweight semifinal bouts. The first fight was Marlon Sandro versus Nazareno Malagari. Sandro won via unanimous decision, 30-27 all around. Again, another good fight. Lots of stand-up, lots of groundwork. They traded punches a few times. They each had a few bursts, including a couple Supermans from each, a couple spinning back fists, some good leg kicks all around. So we have Sandro moving on to the finals of the featherweight belt. And next up in the main event was the second featherweight semifinals with Pat Curran versus Ronnie Mann. Good fight back and forth. I had it split decision for Ronnie Mann. I gave Pat Curran definitely won the first round, but I think Mann ended up taking around the end of the second and pretty much most of the third. I'd say Ronnie definitely dominated. That's my opinion. The judges saw it differently, and they gave it to Pat Curran via unanimous 29-28, 30-27, 30-27. So I'm not sure exactly when the fights will be, but in the featherweight finals of the featherweight tournament, we've got Marlon Sandro versus Pat Curran. Should be a good fight. They both really impressed me. They both had some good groundwork and were good on their feet. All in all, it was pretty good, really good event. Obviously, there's no UFC, but I was actually quite impressed. I had some decent seats. I mean, being at Rama, I mean, there's not really a bad seat, but at the same time, for being a complimentary ticket, it wasn't that bad of seats. It wasn't. I think it was maybe 10 rows up off the floor, so it wasn't too bad. So that was it for the fights. A lot. I'm not sure if anyone knows, but you can catch Bellator, I believe, weekly. Don't quote me on that, but I do know their fights are always live on MTV2. Just check your local listings for that. Next up for the Bellator is Bellator 48, and that is on August 20th from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. It's part of their summer series, and that's when the final round in the featherweight tournament will be. So that's taking place next month, the final of the featherweight tournament. On that card, the local fights are a featherweight belt, a few featherweights, a couple lightweights, and middleweight fights. There's a featherweight belt is Saul Almeida versus Taki Matsuda. Lightweight belt is Nick Fita versus Mark Griffin. Welterweight, Brett Ortieri versus Ryan Quinn. Lightweight, we've got Andrew Colin versus Matt Nice. Middleweight, we've got Dan Kramer versus John Clark. Then the main event, or the main card, there's a lightweight belt, Juan Barranti versus Rini Nazuri. Heavyweight belt, we've got Rico Rodriguez versus Seth Petrilzi. Another heavyweight belt, Cole O'Connor versus Paul Bertello. And then the main event is the finals of the featherweight tournament, the featherweight summer tournament, with Pat Curran versus Marlo Sandro. So that's about it for me. I will see you guys later.